How cola, brothers and sisters. Welcome to Aqua Brain TV. On this show, we chat New Dimensions Alchemy with Andrea Baker, coming to us from Eastern Washington. You can find Andrea at newdimensionsalchemy.com. Just a friendly reminder, we are not offering any sort of medical advice here on Aqua Brain. Andrea, welcome to the show. It's great to have you back on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I got to tell you, after our last show, I took some of the things that we talked about and definitely applied them to my own life. Like that, when I get up in the morning, I'm actually meditating now in the morning, which is a big thing. And it's definitely helped my outlook on life and stuff. But that not going back to sleep or hitting snooze on the alarm, it's big time.
It's hard and it's really life-changing. It really helps your body function better. And when we meditate in the morning, we're really capturing that magical time where we can really be generative and tap in. So, I mean, meditate anytime that you can, but if you can capture that morning time, it can be really, really something else.
I think they call it like the gray hour or something. I don't know, the gray time, like before dawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Ayurveda, it's considered the Vata time, which is really energy, creativity, movement. So that time is where we can really gain a lot of clarity.
Isn't there some sort of like energy draw in one direction or another at certain times of day? Are you familiar with that?
According to Ayurveda we are based, the whole world is based on elements. And so anything we find in our world, our universe is composed of elements, and they really base it on 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and ether. And so they really look at how the elements will change during different times of the day, during different seasons, and they're in different compositions in our body types. Some people are made of more earth and water. Some people are more fire. But they really do set out a schedule for your day, which, interestingly enough, modern science has gone ahead and validated that we do have these circadian rhythms that line up with what Ayurveda has been saying for thousands of years. So it's just really remarkable. Yeah.
Tons of time, right? So the new, what do they call this new, like the last 5,000 years has been some sort of Kali Yuga. And before that was, I don't know. That's some Indian philosophy that I've just.
I believe it. It's hard to know it all.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. And who knows who's got the right answers anyway. So it's kind of just got to go with what you feel, right?
Yeah.
And what feels right. So I noticed you posted something the other day, and it was about disorders and the nervous system. Do you want to go into that a little bit? I've got a theory but I was wondering what that post was about.
So that post is legitimately what I specialize in doing. So our nervous system is this incredible portion of our body that communicates. It's a mind-body connection right there. The nervous system is designed to help keep us functioning well. And the first 6 years of our lives are really profound even in the womb, in setting the stage in how that nervous system functions.
Gotcha.
And so our nervous system is designed to help keep us safe, to protect us. It's also designed to help us heal and rest and recuperate. And it's also designed to help us engage socially. And what we find is that for a lot of us, things happened either while we were being made or in the first, few years of our lives. And it can happen afterwards. Like big traumas can totally set off our nervous system. For the majority of us, though, we're dealing with kind of things that have happened that set our little bodies into a stage of not feeling safe and not feeling protected. And so it tends to cause our nervous system be on edge all the time. And so when we look at healing a lot of our mental health challenges, anxiety, depression, stress, whatever it might be, we're really looking at helping our nervous system function in a different way and learn to be able to feel safe. So we have to learn how to identify when it's doing this because of old stuff versus like, I'm currently not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. I don't need to be on edge all of the time.
Yeah.
But yet things that may have happened in my childhood may have set my body to feel that way, even when it's safe and things are okay. So it's really remarkable what we can do in helping the nervous system to feel safe, to learn to be in this rest, digest mode. And it doesn't take away its capacity to get us to fight, flee or whatever needs to happen if we're truly threatened.
Yeah.
But the likelihood of us truly being threatened is far more limited than the way we operate.
Right. We don't need to be on a razor's edge all
the time.
Yeah.
But I think if you really talk to most people, and I evaluate breathing is often typically the first thing I look at, I find people are breathing in their upper, like their chest and their rib cage. And to me, well, not to me, what we know is that without breathing and pressing down into that diaphragm and having a soft belly, we are essentially sending the signal to our nervous system that there is a problem. So then our nervous system says, hey, I'm going to need you to send out cortisol, all these stress hormones. Andrea's breathing really tight up here, which means she's not safe and not comfortable. It turns out I'm just in the grocery store, but here I am having this stress reaction all the time because I'm not breathing properly to give the signals that I'm safe.
Wow, that's interesting. Have you done anything with like, do you do any of the cleaning or anything like that? Like, is there any, what do you recommend for people? Is it just talk it out, or what are some of the steps that you use to kind of train people to identify, I guess?
Well, I mean, so in a therapeutic setting, I combine some talk therapy. We always have the opportunity to talk. It's great.
Yeah.
But it also comes with very concrete steps, such as the first thing I teach any one of my clients is how to breathe properly. We do a very simple belly breathing exercise. It's not particularly difficult. And then I may actually add on different types of breathing depending on what's presenting for them. So if they're feeling really lethargic and low, it's a breath exercise that activates and gets the juices flowing. But there's definitely, breath is huge. In yoga, we call it pranayama, but it's definitely a huge portion of getting that nervous system to set right.
Gotcha.
And then we look at a whole host of other things. It might be diet, schedule of eating, exercise, what that looks like, of course, meditation, mindfulness practices. And then we can also get on the mat and do some yoga. We use the yoga on the mat to do breath, to also release tension in certain areas of the body that we store our emotions in, specifically the psoas. That's a pretty big place. So yeah, I mean, it's holistic health, because we're not just like, hey, I want you to think differently about this.
Yeah.
Because we know that doesn't work.
Right.
In order to think positively, to have really helpful thinking patterns, we first have to have the neurotransmitters to be able to think properly. And we have to have the chemicals flowing in our body for that to happen. So if we're not eating properly, if we're not breathing properly, if we're not hanging out with the right people and exposing ourselves to effective things, we don't even have the foundation then to think effectively. That's not even available to us. Yeah. So I think one of the challenges of our mental health world is still, it's really antiquated. It's still stuck up in this think place versus, hey, let's actually physically make the body feel better, feel safe. And then it's kind of magical how much easier it is to then look at the challenges that you have in an effective way.
Is it kind of getting away from the victim consciousness mindset as well. Does that help a little bit?
Absolutely. I mean, we look at the neuroscience shows that having gratitude, being non-judgmental, so really accepting things for what they are and not placing value on them, kind of do your thing and march to your own drum, but like don't impose that on anyone else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
gratitude, being grateful, and then having a hopeful outlook, like being able to know that things are going to work themselves out, has profound additional chemical changes on how the body operates. So it's cyclical. So by eating well and taking care of your body, you set the foundation to then think effectively, which continues to send good chemicals back to the body. And it's just, you start to feel this, I guess, a snowball effect in a great way, right? Like this cumulative build in the body, and in our minds and how we live.
That's awesome. Andrea, this is amazing. Last time we talked, you were doing some great things for the county and in what you were doing. And I know it was just weighing on you, and you had all these ideas too, like how to incorporate that into your own thing. I think this is amazing to reconnect with you and that you have done it. I mean, that's awesome. Or doing it, I should say. It's a process, right? But you've said, you know what? I got these ideas. I think they're going to work. I'm going to put them in my own practice. I just think that can you tell me a little bit more about New Dimensions Alchemy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, New Dimensions Alchemy was based on what I was observing in community mental health and using some of the methodologies they were having us use. A lot of what we hear is cognitive behavior therapy. And listen, it works. It can be extraordinarily effective, but it really works when the organism, us, our body, actually already feels pretty good. And it's less effective to just do surgery on our thoughts when, I mean, there's like, we're not feeling safe at all, like it's just too it doesn't balance out.
Like our systems, there's something going on in our system, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's kind of like you're in a building and it's falling apart around you legitimately. And you're supposed to just be like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's great. I have this beautiful building I'm in and it's crumbling around you. It's just, what? This doesn't make sense. And I realized that in my own life, I really found positive mental health changes in some of my own lifestyle changes, in changing the way I was eating and how I was exercising and who I was surrounding myself with. And that's when I had noticed anxiety and depression starting to become less of a factor in my own life. And I started to wonder, where's that in the recipe? And so that's when I really dug into my studies of yoga and Ayurveda. I'd already been exploring it personally for years. But then I really sunk in. And unfortunately, there just wasn't a space for what I do. It's not something that is wildly accepted, even though everyone will say, oh yeah, this works. But
a little outside of the box.
Yeah, it's a little outside of the box. And so, yeah, I was hoping to make it blossom there at Community Mental Health, the facility I was working. But unfortunately, it really came down to my own well-being was being compromised. I was working 50 to 100 hours a week. So I myself wasn't really great by the time I left. So I'm excited to finally be doing what I've felt really called to do for many years, and to do it without any restrictions.
That's so great. So I'm going to switch directions a little bit. So the winter season's coming up. Are you excited about that? You have any big plans for the winter?
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that I'm getting a puppy in 2 weeks, which I think is going to take over a large portion of our lives. Yeah. Just really looking forward to having my schedule. I'm hoping to get up to the mountain midweek and be able to enjoy it during those days.
Midweek is just
the best. Yeah, I gave up on the weekends a long time ago. And then Adam and I usually try to spend, one day out in the backcountry, split boarding and touring around. And so those are the big plans as usual.
Yeah. And you've got your practice, but you're able to schedule around that sort of thing, right? As opposed to being like, oh man, I got 100 hours now I got to do. There's no split boarding for me this weekend.
No,
now you're like,
no. It's kind of funny. I actually tell my clients, I'm like, and I'm just forewarning during the wintertime, if it's nuking on, a certain night of the week, I may be reaching out to you to reschedule your appointment. And everyone's like, no, totally. So
which is awesome, right? You've got clients that they value what you bring to them, and they're gonna be gracious enough, right, to allow you some time to make sure that you're in the good headspace that you need to be in.
Well, many of them worked with me at Comprehensive. So I was really, really, I'm so blessed. It's been so much fun to reconnect with these folks. And under there's no kind of pressure. We can just do our work for as long as we need to. They're very excited and proud of me. And that was the thing that really deeply struck me about how lucky I am, was when I shared that I was departing. Many of them were very initially sad, but they all said, we're so proud of you for doing what's right for you. And I just thought, I'm so used to giving the accolades. Like, this is wow. So I have some
humbling
amazing people.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I've been so okay. So I have a 15-year-old daughter now.
Yes,
so,
I know.
Can you believe it? So we spent last winter up at the mountain. We both had passes, and there was like some schooling decisions that got made. So we ended up spending a lot of time midweek, which was just awesome. And but now so she's back in high school, and she, of course, high school, right? Freshman. Any tips or tricks? Hang on one second, because we have another special guest. And when we're shooting this is right around Halloween. So who are you? Can you tell Andrea who you are for Halloween?
Ladybug.
You're going to be a ladybug? That's so exciting.
What's her name?
Audrey.
I know your name's Audrey.
What's the ladybug's name?
No.
Okay.
Well. Her name is.
This is awesome.
Her name is.
Audrey, I think isn't it Miraculous?
No.
What's the ladybug's name? Oh, well, that didn't fit in there. All right. Hey, can I get you something? Do you need something? A kiss, right? Mwah. All right, sweetheart. And back to our regularly scheduled program.
Love it.
So high school, as a parent, and I think because she's not here, and also it's not about her personal issues, right? But as a parent, do you have any tips or tricks that I can apply? And I'm not trying to get a free consultation out of you, but I think that there's other people in this situation that have teenage children, and I would imagine there's good things and there's bad things that I can do. And I think I'm on that edge.
Well, you'll be on the edge because parenting is imperfect, and that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, listen, there are some people that really enjoyed their youth and found it to be a nice time. And then there's a lot of us, myself included, that you could not pay me $1 million to go relive middle school and high school.
Yeah.
And I think that's because a lot of us as adults form judgments about the way life is supposed to be and the way it's supposed to look. and we inadvertently impose those judgments on our children. And judgments are the thing that destroy us. I mean, there's two types of judgments. One is evaluative, and the other is discriminatory.
Okay.
And you'd think, I mean, I'll just have you guess, which judgment do you think is the kind that we want to be using? The evaluative one or the discriminatory one?
Probably the evaluative one, right?
Right, because you think that, because when we hear discriminatory, we think I'm discriminating. The reality of it is when I evaluate something, I'm posing my own values on that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's bad. Oh, I don't
Oh.
like that. Oh, that's not, proper.
Yeah.
When we're discriminating, truthfully, what to discriminate means is to tell the difference between two things. This apple is rotten and this apple is fresh.
Right.
So I really encourage parents to work on removing evaluative judgments from their interactions in their lives and set the example for their children to truly not have judgments against other people, to be able to tell the difference between this is healthy for me and this is not, but not to impose a judgment. So, for instance, there might be friends that aren't really healthy truly to be around, but that does not make them bad people.
Right.
That just makes them like not a great fit for me. And so when you can have that, it makes relationships a lot easier and a lot more clear, because there's a lot of us, and I think young women struggle more because we're sort of taught that we're supposed to love everyone. This does happen. Unfortunately, we do a lot of gender role assigning for youth, and okay, women are supposed to be nurturing and more caring. And so you see a lot of young females that have these toxic friendships and toxic relationships that they don't need to have, but they're there because they think they're being nice and it's the right thing to do. And they don't want to be judgmental, but like, but they are, and so.
Yeah. So how do you get, and again, you can tell me like, this is not a good topic, but so how would you, what is a suggestion if you have had a friend that you were very close to and that friendship dissolved, but it seems like one party or another is constantly attacking or trying to, I'm trying to say this very nicely, but impose their opinion apparently on that person, right? So whether it be like TikToks, that are just kind of like, they're not necessarily attacking the person, but they're just bringing the person up, or whether it's, like some sort of gestures in the hallway or on the bus or something like that. Am I asking my question?
I think I hear what you're saying is how do you help a young person deal with others that are being judgmental? What do you do with that? Because when I hear there's divisiveness, which is, a split, we've now created some sort of separation here because of someone's behavior. When that's occurring, the best thing we can do is not jump in the water, like not get into it. And what's tough about that is there's this part of us that has, values and has some ideas about right or wrong. And we want to say, that's not okay, knock it off. Right. And the truth is we don't get to control anyone else. So the best energy is spent in truly ignoring these behaviors and focusing more on how to be the best version of yourself. Now, if someone is verbally attacking you in front of you, or physically assaulting you, right? There's a reaction that can be taken in self-defense. But the truth of the matter is 99% of the time, we're not actually being physically assaulted. Walking away is the best option ever, and there's this competition, thing that we have, which is, I need to put people in their place. And it's like, wow, no, don't even bother. It is just so not worth your time. You know, I'd say move on, focus on doing you to the best of your abilities. And also realize that by doing that, you will become stronger and more in line with who you really are in the heart and the soul. And when it comes down 10, 15 years later, we're going to know who rose above and who did not. You know,
Right.
life will look a little different for those of us that choose not to get into these ugly battles.
And tell me if this sounds good. So by doing that, it may seem like friends are potentially turning away from you or whatever at this time. But if you're developing yourself, you're going to attract better people.
100%. And what that means, though, is that sometimes we're not the most popular person. And sometimes we're not surrounded by a ton of friends. And sometimes we're not getting invited to all the cool parties. In the end, though, most of those kinds of relationships really aren't based on quality. They're not based on longevity. I think about, my mom always said this, and I think it's a wonderful rule of thumb. And I don't know, it's helped me so many times, but you personally only have enough space for 5 strong relationships in your life at any given point in time.
Oh, wow.
So if you think about it, like, and who is that, right? Like, you know, your parents, probably, if those are decent, maybe there's 2, you know, like, you know, maybe a best friend or 2, maybe a teacher you really like. It's pretty limited how many people you're actually going to have a close, authentic relationship with. So when we're spending so much time trying to be friends with everyone on the soccer team and everyone, you know, on the football team and all these people, what we end up with is no quality. We have quantity, but just no quality. And it doesn't help us find ourselves.
Can you we locked up there for a second, and that was really powerful what you just said. Do you mind just repeating that?
I'll try. Which part was it? The 5 people?
Yeah, it was the 5 people, and just, you know,
I can do it. Okay. So my mom always told me growing up, and it's, we really only have the capacity to have 5 close relationships at any given point in time. And it might actually be even less than that, you know, depending on how close those relationships are. But about 5 people can we keep a good, healthy bond with. And so if you think about that, if you're close with parents, right? Say you have a good relationship with your mom and dad, there's 2. Right. And say you have a good best friend, there's 3. I mean, maybe there's a mentor or someone that you're really close with, there's 4. This isn't the whole soccer team or the whole football team. This isn't, you know, all the school that you're close with. This is a couple people in your life.
Right.
And the rest of these folks are kind of periphery. I mean, they're not going to have a huge impact. So who you spend the majority of your time with, these 5 people, will profoundly impact how you function as an individual and your potential moving forward. So I think that when we have people that are behaving in a way that's hurtful or harmful, and they take people with them, hasta la vista, like,
right.
Okay, I will not be wasting this precious energy that I have on you. I'm going to seek a few people that I really think are going to bring me the biggest bang for my buck. And I bring, you know, that to them, and we'll grow together. And the reality of it is in a certain, and this is what youth don't understand. Time does not apply to them the way it does to adults. And we have to remember that the pain they feel in this moment feels perpetual. It feels forever.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to say, hey, radar, if you focus on these relationships that are healthy for you. And that's so true. I look back now, and I mean, I actually still have several friends from high school that I focused on, and the best people, like my best friend in the whole world. We've been best friends since we were 14.
Wow.
And I couldn't do life without her. Like, I genuinely don't know what I would do.
That's
and
awesome.
We grow together and we challenge each other. And we both experienced a lot of bullying and a lot of hurtful stuff that went on, but we stuck together. And I can't even access that pain anymore. Like the hurt and the rejection and the times that I wasn't, wanted or whatever, that doesn't even register. What registers is all these loving memories and feelings we've made over the last, I don't want to say how long.
Don't say it. Don't say
25 years now.
I told my wife I just turned 29, I think no, I don't. It's not that. It's not that.
Yeah.
Well, that's I hope that she watches this. I hope that she gets some value out of that. I will definitely, the thing I'm working on with her is patience. And when you brought up the judgment thing, that's been a huge thing, I think, because she feels like I'm constantly doing that. And so that, whether I am or not, I'm coming across that way. And so that is definitely something that I need to work on. Just a friendly reminder, we are not offering any sort of medical advice here on AquaBrain. Any immune system tricks, tips?
Well, so when I come from everything from an Ayurvedic lens when it comes to wellness. So I'm really thinking about the elements and the seasons. And so if we think about winter, we have cold, some dry, wind, movement, and this can be really ungrounding. So things that we want to look at doing during the wintertime and fall is warm, unctuous foods. So we're looking at stews, root vegetables, good soups, creamy rice things that are just really comforting and cozy. And that's not to say we want to have excessive amounts of it, but this is not the time to be having a green salad. Our body does not need that. It doesn't line up with the seasons. This is not what, fits in with seasonal eating. So we want to also look at ways to stay warm. So making sure that we're cozy and we're, supplying a comfortable, cozy environment for ourselves. When it comes to our immune system, we are cells. We're made of cells, but make no mistake about it, everything is made of cells.
Right.
But we too are cells. And our organism loves and does so much better when it's surrounded by love. So good, healthy, close relationships, physical contact, hugs, just being in the proximity of people, pets, these things set that nervous system into a rest and digest place, which really does help the nervous system be and the immune system function well. So, I mean, just real simple is ramp up the warm, cozy foods. Try to drop the drying, like chips and crackers and salads, things that are hard to digest, and go for things that your body will easily break down. That way it's not working super hard. Yeah. It's just easy. And see if you can surround yourself with quality physical interactions. So lots of hugs.
Lots of hugs.
Yep.
She's my special guest. She makes guest appearances.
I like it.
So we've it's been pretty awesome.
Daddy,
Yes.
I want Pringles.
You do. Well, you know what? Andrea was just talking about how we should eat less chips. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? No. I'll tell you what. All right. Well, I think that's a cue that we should get to the bonus questions.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Bonus questions. What is a skill that you want to learn but haven't yet?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
You can have more than one if you want.
I don't know. I'm always trying to learn stuff, but nothing. Okay, so a skill, it's probably more like a sport that I'm getting into, but I've just started skateboarding in the
Okay.
last couple of years, and unfortunately was not able to go much this summer, but I would definitely want to learn to do that more, which is part of the reason I'm trying to support our new skate park build in Cle Elum, because the skate park there is treacherous and it's just not somewhere I want to go. You know,
Yeah,
it's
right.
like,
Yeah.
does
And
not
you're not gonna
imbibe
go,
confidence.
you're not gonna head over the mountains to go to like North Bend or something. Right?
I mean, I last a total of 15 minutes out there, so it feels like an aggressive amount of driving for like, I'm exhausted. And
Right. All right. So so a little follow-up on that. Is that park, rail, ground tricks? What's your
I am trying to learn how to, I want to do the bowls really bad. Like I want to be able to like go around in that kind of
do some
area,
grinds?
do some like flowy stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, flowy skate stuff. Okay, if all right, here we're gonna get into to some. All right, if you were living in a tribe community, what would you offer?
Oh, well, I'd be the shaman probably.
The healer.
The healer. I mean, I think that that would definitely be an area that that resonates with me, and that's really where I am called to work. I'm still in my infancy, I think,
Sure.
in my own personal development, but that's where I would see myself in the tribe. Either that or I like cooking a lot. So I'd make some bomb ass meals.
There you go. All right. So, what key components would you expect other members of the tribe to do, contribute, maybe like the top three?
The top three, well, we need to make sure that we have people to care for our young and our old. So definitely making sure we have people that are going to be providing love and support no matter what stage of life. We need food. So we're going to need some folks to be gathering that and cultivating that. And yeah, storytellers, somebody who is going to make sure that we are educating and carrying on that the knowledge that is so important.
All right. Okay. Last one.
Okay.
If the system that we're so dependent on collapsed tomorrow, what would be the first thing that you would do?
What do you mean when you say system?
Electricity, governance, just that the system. I mean, if you think about it, right, we are 100% almost dependent on food at our grocery store, you know, electricity coming to our house, water coming to our house.
Right.
So that collapses.
That
Done.
collapses.
That's done.
Well, I'm generally kind of set a little bit because we've been trying to figure out how to live a little off the grid. So I'd be stoked not have a big party. No, I mean, I'd build a fire in our wood burning stove and light some candles and settle in to my previously made, you know, in the freezer canned goods and things like that in the root cellar. So there it is. Couldn't find the word. So, I mean,
awesome.
I don't think I'd be running for the hills.
Well, you're almost already there.
Yeah, I am in the hills, I guess.
Oh, but I get what you're saying. You're not going to panic necessarily. You're just going to say, all right, this is what it is. This is what's happening.
What are the next steps? What are the things we need to do to be self-sufficient here and buckle down? I think that we have gotten really dependent upon outside entities, and we're no longer relying on one another to live. I mean, my dream has always been to have a big piece of land and a commune, and that way people can come and contribute and live we're designed to live communally. We are not meant to be these lone rangers in the world. Some of us do better than others that way, but truly we are cells, organisms. And once again,
Right.
we have been birthed out of this evolutionary process of one singular cell realized that they did a lot better if they started to share the load, and they became cellular colonies. And then woo, we've continued to advance. This is not a slap in the face to religion at all. It's just truthfully how we've come to be. So when we try to operate as separate entities, we don't do our nature any good.
Right. And I feel spiritually as well, we're very attached to this body and to, our possessions and stuff. And I think once you are in that kind of connection with other people, you start to realize like there's more to it than just the material possessions.
Quantum physics says there's way more to it, and that in fact that we are all connected, and that it is a big, big mistake to miss that in our lives. And I know that a lot of people probably don't know a lot about quantum physics. It's just really unfortunate that we don't talk about it more. But the reality of it is that we are having this conversation, and we are technically thousands of miles apart, hundreds of miles apart, but this is happening. And
where do you think I am?
Well, I know. Okay. I'm not great with numbers, but technically this is happening in real time. How is that possible?
Right.
And to think that what I think and what I do does not affect anyone else, that's absurd. My very functioning right here and right now, the way I am handling myself, it affects not only my husband who's in the other room, it affects you who's 100 miles away, and all these other people. This is real. Like it's right. Just is what it is. A lot of people don't read these scientific experiments, but they're out there that show that you can remove a genome, our genetic code, and isolate it and move it from a human body, and take that human body and expose it to different emotional triggers and see electrical changes in that DNA sequence, no matter how far apart they are, in real time. Tell me we're not all connected.
And on that note, Andrea, thank you so much for coming to join me on Aquabrain.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. It's a blast.
Thanks for joining us on Aquabrain TV. Check us out at Brain Aqua. Here's where you subscribe. Here's a video we think you'll like.